Good afternoon. So, hope you have seen the DAF. There is no changes with respect to the DAF compared to the last year and this year. DAF remains the same, and DAF 1 has been filled already, right? So, you can't change any of the basic things that you have filled again, right? So, I won't be able to look into the basic things, right? So, you will have to be sure with respect to it. Couple of things I wanted to be very clear with respect to it is one, when you fill home cadre, or when you fill hobby, employment, be true. That's fundamental. And your home cadre is based upon first 5 positions, like your space, official address, address for communication, educational spaces that can be filled. That is what they say it as home cadre. From 1 to 5, whatever that has been given and what you fill as an address, that can be taken as it, right? So be sure, be true about it. There will be a good amount of scrutiny will be there with respect to it. And second, with respect to the hobby, people have some misconceived opinion that you're going to forest service interview, so your hobby should be related to forest. Sorry, that nothing of that has been the case with respect to it, right? You can have any hobby, and if you have a forest related hobby or environment related hobby, then fill it also with respect to it. If you are not having it, don't forcefully put across some hobby and don't want it to be backfired at a later point of time. That is second thing. Employment opportunities, if you do have, fill it. By any chance, if you have entered into an employment opportunity post your preliminary examination or post your mains examination, which is like where you can't fill it in the earlier case, in the areas of hobby sections, areas of interest, mention that it's been the case with respect to it, so that you will have at least an opportunity to speak about it. Right? Second, with respect to the section, the one which will be speaking about particulars of university, national level, state level with respect to prize, medals, scholarships, sports, NCC, distinct leadership, and other extracurricular activities. My suggestion would be fill whatever that you do know, whatever that you have, fill it for the first time, right? Send it. We can have a personal individual call. We will discuss what sounds good, how it can be changed, how it can be altered, or how it can be modified with respect to it. Then when the final version goes on, each section either have 2 or 3, not more than that, right? So, but which 2 to be filled, which 3 to be filled is always a question to put across, right? I can't generalize all hundreds of people to say that fill these 2, fill this 3. So you write whatever you do with respect to it. We can discuss and we will be able to put it across. One common thing is like you don't have to speak, most of the people will write something like cricket, where it will be a common things, where in an interview, always understand this area of hobby, sports, area of interest, medals, prizes, all those things. No, it is like a platform where you, an interviewer, can easily communicate. So, which makes it much more easier for you to discuss with another person, to make the interview much more easier, conversation in a very friendly manner, to start in a conversation friendly manner. So, what you are filling here has to have some curiosity also. So, think about yourself, about your life, whatever you have been doing. But again, don't forcefully put some things which you are not doing, because there have been 5 people, 4 people, or 5 people in the board, right? Usually 4 people for the forest service interview, and 4 with 30 or 25 to 30 years of experience, which will be cumulatively 100 years of experience. If they are going to ask you a question on a particular area, they do have a good amount of knowledge on it, or at least I've read about it, right? So don't go into something and get backfired or get problem because of it, right? So this is one another thing, right? And if by any chance, as discussed earlier, if you got into an employment post filling the DAF one, and if you want to do it, the place that you can put it across is spice, medals, and scholarships. Fill it that you have been working as, or you have been selected as the state service, national service, or government of India, RBI, whatever the service that you have been there. If it is service, right? Private employment, I'd not be able to put it across, right? But when it has been asked about introduce yourself, or if there is any space that comes, mention it that you have been doing. That can be done with respect to it. And with respect to the cadre, I will mention what are the cadres, what are the good about a cadre. There is nothing bad about a cadre, at least in my personal opinion. To speak about the good about the cadre, I will leave that to your own decision. You decide it, write the cadres, send it to me, right? After that, we will be able to discuss. This is my mail ID. I'm writing in caps, but mail IDs are case insensitive, where you write it in small letters or you write in capital letters, you will get it delivered to me. Just because it is YouTube Live, I'm not giving my phone number. You write the mail, I will call you. But in the mail, I need certain informations to put across with respect to it, right? I will also tell you what are the things, right? One, give me your name and give me your phone number so that I will be able to call back, right? Are we comfortable? Shall I proceed further? Next. With respect to the cadre, we'll go with respect to zone, each zone. Starting with zone number 1. Hope cadre rika. None of you have your DAF. You know what are the cadres? Right. Zone 1 will include Agmut, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Rajasthan, and Punjab. Within this, Rajasthan is always considered to be a good cadre, right? It's a good cadre with respect to it. So without any doubt, you can go on with respect to it. Unless otherwise, if you come from the zone 1 and if your home cadre is say Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, or Delhi, or with respect to it, go on with respect to your own home cadre, right? So all the things that I'm saying is your home cadre is first, if you want it, right? After that, you will go on with respect to it. After that, I will give you conditions. You decide what it has been there. We will discuss it over the call, right? One is Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand. People usually will go on with respect to Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh, or Himachal, Uttarakhand, right? That is because Uttarakhand has a good amount of institutions will also be there. For example, FRI will be there, Forest Research Institute will be there, IGNFA will be there, Wildlife Institute of India will be there. So a good number of institutions have been present with respect to it. So that has been the case. And Dehradun being the place, comparing Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh, a good amount of space is slightly in the Shivalik regions. So more connectivity will be there. If mountain is not a problem, you can go with respect to Himachal and Uttarakhand. Whereas if you have to discuss about the challenges in the place, means this region have little bit of unconnectivity will be there. And high areas, Himalayan, Great Himalayas regions and Middle Himalayas regions will not have a good amount of connectivity as like a plain regions. That's the only problem, right? Think also from multiple aspects. Number one, don't think it from the time period that you are appearing for the examinations. Your 30 years is going to be there, right? So think about in a way that after you get first marriage, after getting married, children's, taking care of the elders, whether you have all the infrastructure, whether you will be able to mobile with respect to it, all this, if you can put it across in opinions, think about it. One. Number two, from the gender perspective, think about the cadres. That will always be the good thing to put it across, right? These two. Whereas you will have Punjab and Haryana, right? The commonality between these two cadres will be a plain regions, closer towards Delhi. A good amount of infrastructure will be there. Your connectivity to your home state will be much more easier with respect to it, right? But the challenge again for this particular cadre will be the forest area. Being in Indo-Gangetic plain regions, amount of forest in the region is very, very less. So if you are a person who is like, I wanted to enter into an area where more amount of forest, I wanted to work on this particular area, may not be this place. There will be a limited amount of forest scope will be there, but more amount of forest scope will be here with respect to it. But again, with respect to connectivity will also come with respect to it. Then you will get Agmut. It is again how you see the cadre with respect to it, right? I'm not going to give you plain answers. If you are a person who is like, I would like to travel, I would like to explore multiple types of forest, then you will move from one to another. Usually what happens is the initial cadres will be in Arunachal Pradesh or Mizoram regions. So that's the case. Delhi, Pondicherry, Daman, Dadra Nagar Haveli, it will come at a later point of time. And that will also be based upon your seniorities, how many people have been appeared for it. All these provisions will come with respect to it. And 3 years you will have to mandatorily serve in the northeastern part of India, where Arunachal Pradesh and Mizoram will be there. So this will be seen as a challenge one. Number two, I do know a good number of students who entered into the service. Their major complaint after going there is, apart from communication, infrastructure, and all those things with respect to it, unable to get married. Because being in forest service, being in an all India service, they will be like, you're far away from the regions, not getting the bride or the groom. So that's been a challenge. I'm very pragmatic with respect to my opinions. This is with respect to zone number 1. Any doubts in zone number 1? Bhunesh, I will take personal questions. I've given you the mail ID, so you drop me the questions and we will have a personal questions there. It has been in a YouTube live, and especially the questions like yours is not to be discussed on a live manner, right? Live scenario. This will create a chaos or a problem to you. That is the only reason. You drop me a mail, we'll speak over it, right? Any doubts in zone 1? Shall I proceed? With respect to zone 2, yeah, it is Bihar, Jharkhand, Odisha, and UP. Bihar, UP, Jharkhand, Odisha. I would say that it's simply based upon which zone you have been coming from. That's the thing. If you are from northern part of the country, people usually will prefer going on to UP or Bihar in that particular zone because you are much closer towards the regions. Think about it, someone is coming from Madhya Pradesh. Bihar and UP will be much closer towards them, or Jharkhand will be closer towards them. And if you are from a person in plain regions, then obviously you will be looking on Delhi, UP will be much closer going on to the home. Again, the challenge that has been is the forest area is less. That's one major factor to be considered with respect to it, right? Whereas Jharkhand or Odisha, you will have a good amount of forest cover, extremely good amount of forest cover. Jharkhand is a land of forest. Odisha is a land of tribes. You do have multiple scope to work in both these regions, right? And again, as a forest service officer, when you have a scope to work, you will get more amount of advantages will also be there. So think about the scope to work, because next 30 years, you have a satisfaction from the job. You'll have to give back to the society as well. So think about that particular factor. At the same time, another thing is your lifestyle, community, getting your infrastructure for your family members, and all those things will be there. I would say that anything is fine, right? I will give you my personal preferences at the end. That will also be there, and it's very purely my personal preference, not the other ones. Zone 3 is Gujarat, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, and Chhattisgarh. Put any zone in any order, I don't have any problem, right? We'll be fine with respect to it. But there are certain challenges to be addressed as well. People always put Madhya Pradesh as zone 1. Always put Madhya Pradesh as zone 1. That is because Madhya Pradesh has good amount of forest, 1. Central part of India, you will have connectivity to any part of the land. That will also be the case. Be south or north or east or west. It connects you well with respect to it. So forest cover is also largest forest cover, good amount of forest department, infrastructure is good, department working nature is good, right? All this has been there. But in the last couple of years, number of people going into the forest service, into the Madhya Pradesh cadre is extremely high. So for a longer time period, they did not intake number of forest service officers. It was very limited. Now last 2 to 3 years, more number of people are in. Intake was high. So what, sir? 10 years from now, 15 years from now, or a longer time period from now, you will not be competing for your promotions with 5 people. You will be competing with your promotions for 15 to 20 people, right? But earlier, what was happened is like the filling was made in a, I would not say it is a wrong or something like that. The filling was done in a different manner. Now filling has been, intake was done in a different manner. So this is a point, if you have been thinking far ahead of your future, this is a point to be considered, right? 1. Second thing, some of the cadres are always preferred by everyone as first cadre. For example, in the zone 1, Rajasthan is the first preferred cadre, unless otherwise your home cadre falls here, right? Similarly, here with respect to it, usually people go with respect to UP or Bihar, or someone like me will go with respect to Odisha. It's based upon the preference. Here it is Madhya Pradesh. The next cadre, when we speak about it, it is going to be with respect to West Bengal or Assam and Meghalaya. The next cadre, when we speak about it, is going to be Karnataka, if Kerala or Andhra Pradesh is not your home cadre. But what is happening here is, there is like again demand and supply. There will be 2 or 3 posts will be there for a particular community where 50 people will be opting it for the first. Whether you are going to join the herd or whether you are going to make a balanced stand is again a question to be considered with respect to it, right? Madhya Pradesh is a good cadre. If you want to opt one, it's fine with respect to it, right? Second, Chhattisgarh is really a good cadre. The opinions on people will always have an opinion. Naxalism has been there and it's been a threat. I think the government has been working on it for a longer time period and it has been reducing with respect to number 1. Number 2, We have never had incidences of forest service officer being affected by the Naxalism, number 2. Number 3, in Chhattisgarh, forest service officers have been working as district magistrates even. A good amount of fund has been there, good amount of scope for work has been there, good amount of opportunities to work with the people has been there, being a forest and tribes. It is again based upon individual preference. Somebody will have an opinion, okay, I will go on to Gujarat more because it's more of a plain regions, I will come back. I will go on to place like Maharashtra more, or I will go on to, so it's again, I'm giving it to a person. It has its advantage because of its forest cover and all those things, right? Maharashtra, it's a land of diversity. You will have Konkan coast also. Is the speed fine? Yes, the Konkan coast also will be there, whereas your eastern Maharashtra will be there. Eastern Maharashtra, you will have a large amount of dry patch will be there. Except for the Konkan coast and the regions adjoining Madhya Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh regions, Telangana regions, this border regions alone will have a good amount of forest, tiger reserves and all those things. Interior is a dry land. So it will have both the scenarios. But Maharashtra is also a good cadre to be. Nothing to worry about it. Gujarat, the only thing, if I have to speak about is the southernmost Gujarat regions where Tapi Valley regions alone has a very good Western Ghats kind of a forest. Other regions will be like a savanna grasslands, dry lands, Rana of Kutch desert regions where forest cover areas have been different from it. So this is one area with a challenge. But the advantage is you will have a good amount of infrastructure, good amount of fund, good amount of scope for work has been there. That is also a major factor when you go on to a particular state, whether you have a good amount of scope to work, whether you have a good amount of fund to work with respect to it. That will also be the case. Moving on to the next state, where Sikkim, Assam, Meghalaya, we'll have West Bengal, Tripura, Nagaland, Manipur, right? What people have been doing in the recent time period is they opt Sikkim as the first cadre, Haryana as first cadre. These are done by the sections of the populations. Why that has been done is outsider vacancy for Sikkim is not been available for a large number of years. So people will be like, okay, let me put it as 1. So what will happen? Outsider vacancy is not at all available. So I can skip the particular zone completely. So what they do is like they pick each and every zone and look for which cadre outsider vacancy is not available in the last 5 years, 10 years. It's a very smart move. I'm not saying it's not a smart move. So if you are able to do it, assume that you pick 4 zones and all 4 zones your first of preference has been skipped, which means what will happen? You will come back to again your own home cadre zone and the second option can be available with respect to it. It's a good thing. But if you're doing it, I would suggest go to the web, download last 10 years of allocated cadres for insiders and outsiders. You sit with respect to it, you work on it, you find for your community whether it has been insider available or outsider not available with respect to it, then take a informed decisions. Do not go by the opinions of what people tell on that, right? 1. Number 2, it still has one risk factor. The risk factor is what in that year, if Sikkim an outsider vacancy is given and if you are opted for it, you have to take that calculated risk if you are going for it, right? That is for all zones wherever people put across with respect to it. I do know good number of populations in civil service examinations where they have opted cadres like Haryana or Sikkim's with respect to it. It will skip, sir, no problem, sir, and they landed in the state. If you are happy with respect to the state, well and good, no problem with respect to it. But your choice will not always go right? Let me be very clear. The state with respect to Assam and Meghalaya is, in this particular part, till you go and join the service in the field. I'm not speaking about IGNFA. When your on-job training has been given in the recent time periods, you do not know whether you are given Assam or Meghalaya. Once you are given Assam, you will stay only in Assam. Once you are given Meghalaya, you will stay only in Meghalaya, right? Both are fine with respect to it. Assam is comparatively even more fine because of the infrastructure, plain areas, good amount of forest, all those things has been there. Meghalaya is more of a forested regions. Comparatively, infrastructure-wise, it has been slightly less. And if you look into all those states where the schedules of Indian Constitution has also been applied, where more of reserve forest areas in Meghalaya, Assam regions is been slightly less, where community-owned forest is much more with respect to it. That another factor also has to be considered. You will read in the reports and newspaper articles saying that these many thousands of hectares of forest land is available. But what if it is not with the forest department and within the community? So your scope gets limited. Whereas West Bengal is the only state where you will have Himalayas also, coast also. No other state in the country will have Himalayas to coast, which means you have an opportunity to work in Darjeeling also, you have an opportunity to work in Sundarbans also, right? A good amount of variety is being present, number one. Number two, it's a plain regions, mainland, easy to communicate and all those things. People will have, I heard people saying that, sir, West Bengal, they are not giving out deputation and all. Let me be very clear about it. This out deputation, in deputation, not giving deputation is after 7 years of time. After your training and the 7 years of working. Will the scenario, what is remaining true today, will it remain same after the 7 years? No one will know, right? So things, even if the same person is being as a PCCF, same person is as the deciding authority, same party is being available, same government has been available, post 7 years, they can give you with respect to it. I do know large number of people who came out as a deputation with respect to it. It has not been the case. Again, do not believe unless otherwise you know it by the first hand, right? And it's a good cadre. I do know a good number of populations working there with respect to it. And they feel happy with respect to it, right? One. Tripura is the only, apart from Assam, plain regions with respect to it, a nice cadre to go on. My only suggestion is, if you are not from northeastern part of India, and if your home cadre is not Nagaland or Manipur, you can keep Nagaland and Manipur at the later preferences only because it is far away from your home. Infrastructural connectivity will be less. But Nagaland and Manipur has extremely good amount of forest cover. That's another aspect to be taken into considerations, right? Hope you get my point. I'm not speaking ideal in terms of cadre selection. I'm speaking very practical in terms of cadre selections of your 30 years of post 30 years. Are we comfortable with respect to it? If you are like, no, sir, I want to enjoy Nagaland, go on with respect to it, put it across and go initially with respect to it. A good thing to do with respect to it, right? Next, with respect to Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana and Kerala, right? In this large section of populations, always opt for Karnataka as a first preference. Always opt for Karnataka as a first preference, unless otherwise your home cadre is something else, right? If your home cadre is Kerala, you will opt for Kerala. If your home cadre is Andhra Pradesh, Telangana or Tamil Nadu, you will opt for it. Rest of the population, that is because good amount of Western Ghats is present, and you do have coastal Karnataka, southern Karnataka, central Karnataka, northern Karnataka, extremely diverse environment will be present with respect to it. One. Second, most of the population, let me split now into north and south for obvious reasons, right? Most of the population from the northern part of the country goes on with respect to these two cadres based upon their choices after that, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, because there is a misconceived opinion that in Tamil Nadu, people, if you do not speak Tamil, you will not be respected. That's a misconceived opinion is there. You take the PCCF names of Tamil Nadu, you will be able to know that most of the PCCFs in Tamil Nadu comes from non-Tamil Nadu background. There is no such case has been that, but it's a misconceived opinion. It's not to be discussed about it, but people go on with respect to language preferences, right? But they believe that Hindi will be spoken, fine, but anyhow you go on, you have to learn Telugu to survive there with respect to it. And people go on with respect to Kerala as the last preference. I do not know why with respect to it, because Kerala has a beautiful nature of forest. Leave is a fundamental right here. You have to give someone leave, your leave will also be accepted with respect to it, which in All India service is a big thing. Getting a leave and going back to your home is a big thing in an All India service, where leave is a right, unless otherwise a mandatory work has been present with respect to it. Tamil Nadu will again be the case. These two have only Eastern Ghats. Let me speak in terms of forest. These three have Western Ghats. The greatness with Tamil Nadu is it has both Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats. It has the wide variety will be present with respect to it. It's again your personal choice. I'm not getting into your personal choice of what to be done. And if you want to speak in terms of development, of course, within the five, Tamil Nadu has the largest development with respect to it, followed by Kerala will have it, Karnataka, Andhra, finally Telangana, because Telangana itself has been bifurcated in the very recent times. If you take Hyderabad out, the rest of the region will be having a comparatively less development for this zone. I'm not comparing with respect to the zones of different parts of the country as well, right? Are we comfortable, right? If you have an opinion, you frame it. You put across based upon your conditions, right? Send the DAF. We will discuss. Amol, what about the political issues in West Bengal? That's the only thing I speak with respect to it. I don't want to get into a political issue or a non-political issue with respect to a particular state, right? Let me be very clear. The correct choice of words, what people put across is deputation is not available, or deputation is available outside deputations where I can go to the home cadre or not. See, after 7 years, you become eligible for the deputations. Within the 7 years of a time period, what will be the case? No one knows. Let's assume you go to a state, right? In the next 7 years of a time period, if scenarios change in the state, what will you do? So these are not some things which is kept in mind. Don't go with an idea of deputation as the major factor for your cadre preferences. Go to the state with one but couple of things with respect to it. Your pragmatic lifestyle. Number two, your scope to work for the forest, giving back to the society, working on the forest areas, working with respect to the tribes, working with respect to watershed management. Those can be the major preferences. If you are a person who is much more a person of love over the nature, I would say that go on to the scope of work. If you are a person who wants to take a middle stand, find a middle ground. If you are a person who is on a different aspect, go on with respect to your pragmatic lifestyle. That's the case with respect to it, right? Keeping that in mind, should I opt for Bihar as a preference? Arjun, I would say yes, right? If you wanted to work in Bihar, number one. Number two, I do know a large number of populations who did not wanted to work in their home cadre. For example, ABCD home state, and that home state does not have a forest. I do know a person who is from West Bengal, a good friend of mine now, an old student, is in service. He said that his cadre preferences was different. His first preference was Karnataka. He was from easternmost part, West Bengal. He was from West Bengal. His first preference was Karnataka. Second preference was Madhya Pradesh. Third was Maharashtra. It went on very zigzag with respect to it. I was speaking about the old days where you don't have zonations. And I asked him what was the reason. He said, I have a love for the tiger. I'm picking it based upon the tiger population. So it's very simple with respect. I don't know people after Tamil Nadu, second state was given as Assam, Meghalaya. I was like, it was extremely curious for me. I was like, called him and asked him why Assam and Meghalaya. He said, my fiancé is from Assam, Meghalaya. Either I will be in my state or in our state. Simple logics. So it's going on to be your own conditions with respect to it. If you have a liking towards working in your home state, go with respect to your home state. But what about the home state? Is class 12 schooling is also a criteria? First 5 will be considered as a criteria, unless otherwise it has been changed. Abhay Raghav. Only thing that before going to Abhay, only thing I would say is because it is not well defined what is your home state, sometimes we come across people putting it across different things as a home state and saying that outsider vacancy, I will claim my own home state. These kinds of wrong things, please don't do it. If you have been found, if there has been a discrepancies, UPSC, DOPT will take the assents. We have seen it in the last year with respect to what has happened in Maharashtra as well, right? So let's be very, very truthful with respect to what you feel, right? So that's something I wanted to speak. Just a second. Our UP, Bihar as forest cadres with respect to opportunity should be preferred after the forested states. Yeah, in your zone, if you have been opting away with respect to Odisha and Jharkhand, you have been left out with respect to only these two. Amol, okay, great. I meant political interference, border issues, etc. See, anywhere you go on, if there is a political structure is being there, non-political structure is there, pressure group is there, population is there, there will be an interference. Whether you lean towards that interference or you stand towards an interference, I'm not speaking about you as in generally a person, is based upon how the person is being the case, right? There is no place across the world, leave India, there won't be an interference. There will always be an interference. Border issues is a major thing for, see, that's a scope to work if you look into one way. Border issue is a major thing with respect to Border Security Force, Indian Army, ITBP, all these places, CRPF, if it is internal conflict is going on with respect to it. Whereas border issues in Bihar and Uttar Pradesh also gives you a scope to work because there is a illegal poaching and wildlife trade takes place between Bihar and Nepal, Uttar Pradesh and Nepal, northeastern part of India to China. This goes on. Similarly, Tamil Nadu, coastal marine trade goes on to the other parts of the regions. So that's another scope to work where you stand there and work and you curtail that particular things. That's the case. So Kerala is a good for us, then what are the other reasons that generally people keep it as last preference? Misconceived opinions. That's what I will believe with respect to it. Misconceived opinions. People believe that the infrastructure will be less. Again, what has also been another scenario, what I found it is like, sometimes people ask questions with respect to someone who has been working for the last 40 years or 30 years, retired. Their time period would have been different. My time period would have been different. See, when I was preparing a couple of cadres for me, for example, Odisha was like 4th or 5th cadre. Those times there is no zonation. Odisha was 4th or 5th cadre, or at least below 10. It was 7 or something like that. And people ask me, Odisha does not have infrastructure. What will you do with respect? I'm speaking about 2009-10 time periods. See, think about it. 9 and 10 amount of infrastructure in Odisha would have been less. Within the next 5 years, amount of infrastructure in Odisha will also improve with respect to it. But if I have worked in 1970s, and if you ask me an opinion, what will my opinion will be the case? That's going to be a completely different towards it. One. Number two, maybe I am a person, I might not like that particular state because of my own personal reasons. That cannot be the conditions to be taken into it, right? Number two, that is why I don't give my preference. I tell you what is good about it. I'm not even speaking about what is bad. Can we leave a zone or cadre while filling the preference? What is the good and bad impact of it? So it is, I won't suggest leaving a zone or a cadre while filling the preferences, but I do know a good friend of mine, and my own roommate left home cadre itself as 0 and went on to a other state. That's a personal choice. But what will be the problem if you leave a zone is the DAF will be available with them, and if they see the DAF and if it has been visible to that, then it might give an opinion that an All India service officer not opting to work for certain zonations, opting to work only for the home cadres and the preferred zones with respect to it, some people might find it different. That's the case. Konja keela vaanga Ivan. Comment Ivan. Comment konja keela vaanga. This year in DAF, it is not mentioned based on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 claim as home state. Then put what is your home state as home state. Do not put what has been the case, because still last year it has been mentioned as 1 to 5 is claimed as home state. If it is not mentioned, please do put only your home state as an home state. Don't take the risk. That's what I will say. And we know what happened with Maharashtra. There's no clarity on the criteria to claim as home state. Please look into it. I can't look into it. I'm no UPSC or DOPT to look into it, number one, just as a very light-hearted. Second thing is like, whatever the home state means is like, if you are from a particular state, it is your home state. For some people, if they have been working in different, for example, if any of your parents have been working in All India services or government services, military, armed forces, they would have been moving from one place to another. In those scenarios, maybe your school, colleges will be a place to opt for it. How many years one has to serve in odd postings in Agmut, and how much time in Delhi, Chandigarh, etc. Is it random or some ratio is there? Hard posting is 3 years initially, at least up to your first promotions. Later on, you might have to go again with respect to the hard postings. But with respect to Delhi, Chandigarh, or the other places like Goa, Pondicherry, Andaman and Nicobar Islands, there is no time period has been given with respect to it. There is no ratio. It is based upon availability of postings and number of vacancies, number of people waiting for it. All those things will be decided in a theoretical manner. Any doubts from here? Any other doubts? I will wait for a couple of more minutes so that if you have doubts, we'll discuss with respect to it. And in the meantime, my zonation is based on forest. So I went on with respect to Rajasthan, I went on with respect to Himachal, Uttarakhand, Agmut, Punjab and Haryana, because the amount of forest will be less. Here I might go with respect to Odisha, Jharkhand, later with respect to Bihar and UP. Here with respect to Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh, or Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Maharashtra, finally Gujarat based on forest. Here it would be Tamil Nadu being my home cadre, Karnataka or Kerala, then with respect to Andhra Pradesh, and then Telangana will be the case with respect to it. This is my preferences. See, both are good cadres with respect to Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. The only thing on comparison I would say with respect to it is Tamil Nadu has more development as in uniform development compared with respect to Andhra Pradesh. Whereas Andhra Pradesh, you will be, Hyderabad is also not available with Andhra Pradesh. It has been with respect to Telangana, Vizag, Vijayanagar, Krishna Godavari Delta, Tirupati, upcoming capital, Amaravati, all these regions will have more infrastructures will be there. The other regions, the infrastructure is slightly less. Whereas Tamil Nadu, it is uniformly developed, all the districts will be there, one. Number two, Andhra Pradesh has only Eastern Ghats. Tamil Nadu has both Eastern Ghats and Western Ghats. Second, both Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu will have coastal regions, so no differences will be there. I go with Rajasthan. Rajasthan or Uttarakhand means I go with respect to Rajasthan, right? Apart from this, I think for a guy from Andhra Pradesh, then Andhra Pradesh is the best cadre. Tamil Nadu cannot be, right? For a guy from Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu versus Kerala. Anyhow, both the cadres are closer towards your hometown, one. Number two, both are south. Both have a similarity of your customs and traditions and food with respect to it. It's a personal choice. If by any chance you have your family members in Tamil Nadu, go with respect to Tamil Nadu. If you have your family members in Kerala, go with respect to Kerala. Or if by any chance you are from southernmost part of Andhra Pradesh, at least Tamil Nadu, you can go by train. That would be the case if I have to put it across, right? And again, mail ID, right? Send your DAF. When you send your DAF, right, I need your name, I need your phone number so that to call back. And if by any chance, if your cadre is based on certain conditions, please in a piece of paper, write down on what criteria you have selected the cadre, so that it becomes much more easier before having a conversation and discussing it and wasting, because I will get large number of DAF. So we'll make it much more easier with respect to it. If you have picked, for example, Sikkim as one, do ensure that you are picking Sikkim as for skipping the cadres with respect to it, something of that sort. Or if you have picked each cadre with respect to its zonations, try to explain it in a piece of paper, attach it as an image, number one. Number two, second piece, if you are by any chance selecting cadres as first preference in each zone, to skip, I want you to do an exercise. The exercise is at least last 5 to 7 years of cadre allocation. Please take it from the website, right? And look into it for your own community, for insider or outsider, how many times the vacancy was available, how many times the vacancy was not available. And please mention that in a piece of a paper so that you don't make a mistake also or leave it out by mistakes, right? So this is second thing that I would want, right? I want you to do an exercise so that it will become much more easier for you to take an informed decisions with respect to it, right? And cadre reasons put across, right? If you don't want to fill in the DAF, and if you don't have a space in the DAF to fill all your hobbies, areas of interest, medals, prizes, and all those things, take another sheet of paper, write down all your medals, prizes, all those things, send it as a mail, so that it becomes much more easier for us to discuss with respect to it, right? And kind suggestion is, because these kinds of buzz has been available with respect to the webs, online, YouTube, some people will put across. You put now, next 3 months has been there, you will be able to study this particular hobby, you read it. Hobby is not something which is read in 2 months or 3 months of a time. Hobby is something which you have been practicing for a good number of time, right? So be truthful what you have been filling with respect to it. That's more important to be put across, so that you don't get stuck and you don't blabber in the interview, which will pull your marks down, right? Third thing, this is what I want when you put it across. And I'll share you the number towards your mail so that we will have communications with respect to it. Apart from that, so we spoke about DAF, we spoke about verification or evaluation of your DAF, 1, 2. The third part is we will have classes for the interview, especially from forestry, in terms of administration, in terms of law, in terms of case studies. Case studies will be like how you apply these laws, rules, policies with respect to it, right? So this will be starting in March, right? So we'll have 1 more month before that with respect to it. And after that, we do have mock panel. This will be conducted offline in 2 places, one Chennai, another one will be in Delhi, and this will be an exclusive Indian Forest Service mock interview. not a civil service mock interview. The panel will be a separate panel for the forest officers, which will have more number of forest service officers, serving officers. Another important thing with respect to the serving officers has always been the case, they will be on the ground, right? Updated with respect to the part. But combinations of seniors, 10 years of experiences to 7 years, 6 years, more number of experience, not with respect to it, right? And then we'll have one-to-one mock panel interview. This will be with me, and this will be with respect to Delhi. If time is also available, we will also do it with respect to Chennai. It's based upon that. If you are starting with respect to in April, I will be in April in Delhi with respect to it. So that will go on with respect to Delhi regions. These are the 5 things. And for this, registration will be there, and registration is mandatory. And if you look into the registrations, and registration has certain conditions. From this year, Vajiram has a marginal fee with respect to the interview guidance program. And for the forest service interviews, if you are a Vajiram student, enrolled with respect to the courses of foundation courses, number 1. Number 2, forestry optional, geology optional, forestry test series, geology test series, then the marginal fees is also not available with respect to it. You are already a student, then it will be taken. And with respect to the GS, it is only foundation course, not any other test batches. But in case of forestry and geology, if you are a person who's been with respect to optional or the test series, it will be available. But the rest of the people, you will have to pay a very marginal fee during the times of your registrations for availing this particular program. Right? This has been the case. Next, with respect to it, is your preparation plan. Before that, interview date has not been announced, right? So usually, what has been happening before COVID is, forest service interview will be completed before your preliminary examinations. COVID was the first time. What has been happened is, because of the COVID, the interviews have been delayed. And after that, a 2-year precedence happened with respect to interview getting delayed after the preliminary examination. But last year, they returned back to their original conditions, where they completed the forest service interview, published the results, and then applied with respect to, opened it for the preliminary examination. Same thing will happen. As we have a clear date for civil services, April 17, it has been closing. This year, we do know it. Last year, we did not know. This year, we do know. From then on, a week of a time period will start come with respect to it. Usually, they will start on a Monday. Usually. So 17 is the case. It will not be possible for 2 days break and then come across. If my logic is correct, it should be on April 28. And it will go for 8 to 9 days. Right? So it will be completing in the time period of 8 to 9 days with the 2 days of holidays. So take it as 10 days. So it will be completing in the May 7 or May 8 with respect. It's always a guess. It's a pure guess. So there can be a 100% choice. I can be wrong. Let me be very clear about it. Right? But usually after the civil service examination completes, a week after it will start. We also have another thing with respect to UPSC now. CAPF or CASF interview is not been completed yet. Right? So either it will be completed and after that the forest service interview come. In that scenarios, it will be slightly delayed, maybe in the May first week. But however, it has been the case, before your civil service prelims gets over, interview will be conducted. But that's a catch. The catch is, you do have easily 3 to 4 months. Easily 100 days will be there from now on. Right? 100 days sustaining this preparation only for an interview has 2 problems. 1, motivation to carry it for a longer time period. Number 2, if the interview gets on May, right, completes at May 7, what would be a mentality for an aspirant? I have given it. I wait for the results, right? Because I have been there. I do know it well. So you wait for it. If at all everything goes well, I want everyone to have results. But we do know the reality. If at all something goes bad with respect to it, then we will have to pull back to the next preliminary examination. So the good thing to do is so this should not affect your prelims. Let's assume 2 conditions. You cleared, assume that I am being there, results did not come with respect to it. In both the scenarios, people can write the preliminary again, right? If you wanted to write for a civil service examination, you need preliminary again. If you want to write for a service and civil services again, also you have to write the preliminary again. So my suggestion is, spend 3 to 4 hours per day with respect to your forest service interview. Not more than that. Rest of the time periods, work on your prelims and mains, right? At least till March. So next to 40 days of a time period, you can work on more of your preliminary. Post March, you will get the dates with respect to it. Slowly, based upon your performance that has been done with respect to it, slowly that 4 hours, 3 hours can become 5 hours, 6 hours. It can be an half of the time period and then push it with respect to it. If you are a person who has also been appearing on civil service examination and the forest service examination, then it is going to be with respect to both interviews will be there. Finish your civil service interview. When you finish your civil service interview, your DAF, current affairs, international relations, all aspects will be completed. Only thing is, you'll have to much more read on environment part and all those things, right? So that area has to be started with respect to it, number one, right? If it has not been the case, if your civil service interview gets over very quickly, start your preliminary, work on for half a day with respect to your forest service interviews, not more than that. Are we comfortable? Shall I move further? What to prepare? Basically, your DAF, current affairs. Apart from this, you'll have to prepare on forest, you'll have to prepare on environment, prepare on climate change. These three areas. Within this, what to prepare, sir? Start from your district, right? Try to have a very fair understanding of on all three aspects with respect to your district. Once your district has been covered, move on to state, nation. It has to be it can be very granular at the district level, but not need to be granular at the national level. You get the difference, right? Your forest types, indigenous species, endemic species, even what animal has been there, what is an invasive alien species, what is the forest cover, what is the percentage, which areas of forest is available. Specific information has to be granular level, has to be known for your district. But if you go on to the national level, speak about what is the problem, what is the scheme, what is the solutions. So that has to be discussed in detail with respect to it. So you start from local to the national. Are we comfortable with respect to it? And put more effect on your local. National, major things no on the particular part. Your newspaper coverage, big schemes with respect to it. Do it for all three, environment, forest and climate change, right? And within this, there are also areas, something like soil and watershed management, which will come in environment and forest. There are also areas of wildlife will be there. Tribes will be there. So do know about this will cover all those things. I hope I don't have to speak about it, right? It will cover from your, or to put it across, from your basic childhood days to till date, whatever you have done. That includes your graduation, employment opportunity, your hobby, area of interest, everything to put it across with respect to it. Cover these areas, right? And always, how I used to study is, I used to have a hubs and spokes wheel diagram kind of a concept. If I'm going to do with respect to it, my hometown is so-and-so, Neyveli. If I'm reading about it, I will try to make hubs and spokes wheel for it, right? Any day I can also add few more towards it because it is not going to end. So my first page is going to be hubs and spokes wheel. So within this, major heading will be there. What is my population? What is the lignite mining that has been there? What is with respect to infrastructure? What is in terms of energy requirement? What is with respect to urea production? What is in terms of water resources, environmental issues, afforestation, right? Then this afforestation alone becomes an hubs and spokes wheel. Clear? If I have a lignite alone has been, one of the topic has been available, lignite becomes an hubs and spokes wheel, I branch out from the lignite. I read about the lignite. So what will happen is you see multiple dimensions. That's much more important with respect to the interview point of view. Second, are we comfortable? Likewise, you put it across for the entire environment, forest and climate change tribes with respect to it. Any doubts still? Think it from a perspective, don't think it as an aspirant, think it as a bureaucrat. Don't come to the mock R1 to 1 and see, there has been an opinion that it's a personality test, not an interview, 200% correct. But you have to showcase your personality, means you have to speak with them. If you have not read it, if you don't have the knowledge, if you are not aware of things, you will say, I don't know. Then in such a scenarios, you cannot be judged, you cannot be evaluated to put it across. So knowledge is as paramount importance as like of personality. Personality will tell what kind of decision you take, how you behave, what is your manner, what is your behavior, what is your character. Knowledge will be the helping way to take a decision to put it across. So both are equally important. One, keep multiple dimensions towards your answer, not having only one dimensions, which you will do in the mains examination. Similar thing, try it with respect to the interview part as well. 2, be confident about what you speak with respect to it. Language is never a barrier. Language is only a tool of communication. So don't worry about the language. I studied from a government school, Tamil medium, which language has never been a problem. If you work, you will be able to put it across with respect to it. So it comes with time. That's all been the case. You have 3 months to put it across. Right? Any doubts? Anything with respect to the preparation? Shall I proceed? Any other doubts? Mock also will be in March. No, mock and 1-to-1 will be starting in the month of April. We'll wait for the dates to come. And this time, because we do know the civil service interview is ending comfortably on April 17, and expect forest service interview to be at the end of April. We'll also start the mock interviews way ahead. We'll have a good amount of time to mock 1-to-1, resemble on the feedbacks, work on it, and then put it across with respect to it, right? Comparatively, which state is better? Both are similar. It's based upon where you come from. You tell me, we'll speak individually. Are you saying deputation will be after 7 years on what will be working till then? Deputation as in moving from, assume Ankit, same person. Ankit is from Rajasthan. So assume that, or let me put across my case. I'm from Tamil Nadu. If I am given Rajasthan, and after 7 years, if I intend to go back to Tamil Nadu or central deputation to work on Delhi ministry or to any central institutions, then I will be eligible after 7 years of my work experience in the cadre that has been allocated. After that, I will be eligible to deputation. Deputation as in either I can go back to home or cadre for 5 years of a time period, or I will be working in a central institution or the ministry for 5 years of a time period. That's deputation. So you will be working on the cadre that has been allocated. Some people, I don't know, large number of people who would never take deputation at all. They go to the cadre, they will be happy with respect to the cadre, never come to the home cadre. So that's never been the criteria to discuss. Mayur, when physical test of 24 kilometers will be conducted? 25. That is for 4 hours for a male, and for a female, it is 14 kilometers for 4 hours with respect to it. Both your medical test and the interviews will be conducted after the results are published. There has been a couple of years before, like 2017 or 18 till time periods, where after the interview itself, they will conduct the medical and the physical test. But what they have changed in the recent years is they will publish the results. Only the selected candidates will be called for medical. Only the selected candidates will be called for physical test, which is walking test. There is no running test, right? Within this walking test, you can run also, no problem with respect to it. That is your choice. But you have to complete the duration, distance within the duration. 1. Second thing is, like, you will be given 2 choices, 2 chances. Chance number 1 is first called for it. If someone misses out the first chance, they will go for the second chance, right? But no aspirant will go on missing the first chance and go on with respect to the second chance. So it is not, don't have that particular opinion with respect to it, right? Tentative date for mock interview, okay, fine. I spoke about it. Possibly, it's a guess based upon, but it's a very calculated guess. It will be somewhere in April 28. In CSE, medicals are being done after the interview this year. Is this different for forest? Of course, yes, 200%. Forest service interviews is different. Forest service medicals and the physical is different. Civil service medical and the interview is different, right? In civil service, you will also have 5 members. Forest service, you will have 4 members. Forest service members will be from the forestry backgrounds, forest service backgrounds, environment backgrounds will be there. And one more thing to know with respect to it, if you are appearing for civil service interviews and also for forest service interviews, don't think both are same. That is because this is a technical service. You have been selected for only one service, and that is a technical service. This is a generalistic service, right? 1. Number 2, within the general service, you do have number of services to be allocated. Choices will be there with respect to it, right? So here the questions are slightly different. Here the questions are slightly different. Easily, members will go on with respect to it on asking questions on forest, environment, climate change. But that is not the only thing to go on with respect to it. They also move beyond that and ask anything and everything, right? But a good amount of questions are technical in nature. It is always, remember, you're going for a technical service, your answers has to be technical. This is what we will be discussing in the classes. We'll discuss how laws, policies, rules, case studies, situations can be framed as an answer to put it across, number one. In mock and one-to-one, we will always look for answers to be how technically it can be framed with respect to it. Will there be both DF1 or DF2 will be available with board and chairman, as the hobbies can be edited in board and DAF2? You have submitted DAF1, you have submitted DAF2. Don't worry about it. That's my answer with respect to it, right? Because that is something that what you have given. Of course, it will be available with all the sections of the populations. More importantly, it will be with respect to DOPT, right? So once you have been submitted, whether they have it, whether they don't have it is not to be worried. Coming back to your questions, yes, they have both. Last to last year, there has been a good number of questions that have been asked from the students, especially on the same thing what Manish has been questioning with respect to it. You have filled this hobby in DAF1, which is missing in DAF2. What has happened in the time gap of 5 months of a time period? And questions like this does not have a ready-made answer. These are only questions. They are checking you whether you are panicking, whether you have an anxiety, whether you are blabbering, whether you are lying. That is all they check. They are checking personality in these kinds of questions. What is the percentage of Madhya Pradesh forest is not the personality. That is a fact. Questions on like this are, if you are some random person who has completed the graduation in 2015, what are you doing for the last 9 years, is a personality-based questions. So don't need to worry about it is my answer. Yes, they do have both. Any other? Wait for 1 more minute if you have been typing by any chance. I don't want to miss that question also. Any questions here? No? Fine. It is always easy to ask questions in online, no? Not to ask in offline. Then, once the registration is being done, how do you get the information? I think link has been put across for course queries, 1. Number 2, once registration has been done, you will also be given portal access. In the portal access, you will be notified with respect to when the classes will be conducted. The recorded online, it can be watched. Recorded video will be available. I think so, with respect to recorded video. I'm not sure with respect to it, but online it can be watched. Offline, it will be conducted in Chennai or Delhi. Third thing. And if possible, we'll also open a separate group with respect to it. I will be giving my phone number. I am not giving it now just because it is YouTube live. I'll give you my phone number, but I will have only one request. I'm giving you my personal number. And do not call me at 12 a.m., 2 a.m. and ask me random questions with respect to it. Behave as a bureaucrat. Because I do have experiences way back in 2021. There was a candidate who wanted to meet. I told him we will meet on Friday because I have 3 classes every day. And he asked me what time. I do not know what is the Friday class schedule. I told him that we will decide on Friday morning. He called me at 4:45 and asked me what time we are meeting. Please don't do that, right? Messages, drop me a WhatsApp message. That will be the best way. I will communicate back to you, right? Within a day, I will communicate back, right? If I have 3 classes. If I don't have 3 classes per day, if I'm free, I will communicate as instantly as I see it. Very simple, right? If you are, okay, there is no questions, I believe so. I will leave with respect to my mail ID if someone has joined late. For sending a detailed application form. Thank you. And one another thing, sorry. Why I was telling Manish not to worry about it, both has been sent to him, is these are unnecessary anxiety in my personal view. These are very, very small things, but if these things are going to the back of your head, these will affect your preparation and the performance both together. So I would suggest do not worry about these things which are magnified by the online community, but not majorly decided by the UPSC board. Right? That's the only reasons. Do not panic. You work on your preparations. I believe in one particular things, which is process. You work on the process, results will come to you. Don't work on the results.